Okay, you guys, hello, what is up? Welcome and or welcome back to my channel. So getting straight into it, I am going to kind of show you guys how I do like my budgeting, financing, all of that stuff. Yeah, we're just gonna run through it. It's currently February 2nd, so I just kind of took some time this morning and went back and looked at my spending for January, kind of reflected on some things, and then also kind of gave like a general game plan per se for February. I'm not super strict with my finances. However, I definitely like keep them in mind. I have a very average income, I'd say, even though I do like content creation, things like that. Any money I make from social media, which honestly, it's very small, very small, but I just put it right back into creating content. So if I make any money from social media, I don't touch it to pay for like my daily living expenses or even like once. I literally just put it into like my business bank account and it stays in there, and that's what I use to do things like buy clothes for try on hauls and that type of thing. So this isn't going to be factoring in any of that. It's just going to be factoring in my income from my full-time job. If you guys don't know, I do work a full-time job. I work at a dental office. My official title is patient care marketing coordinator. And I make roughly, I'd say like $2,300 a month, and honestly that's kind of on like the lower end. I am paid hourly, so it kind of can vary a good bit. A rough range of like, I'd say like $400 to $500 that my paycheck kind of ranges from. I think the lowest I've ever gotten paid was like $2,200, and the highest was like $2,700 and something. So I just kind of estimate my monthly costs at $2,300 though. That way I'm not like finding any surprises along the month. So you guys kind of know like a basis of ground of where we're starting. I'm going to show you guys the banks I use, the credit cards I use, everything like that. And I'm going to be super transparent about kind of like how much I have to spend on like my living expenses, all the nitty-gritty details. Honestly, I love hearing this type of stuff. And I find it really interesting, especially working. I'd say I have a very like average income. I feel like a lot of people make in like the 2000s range. So this is more realistic, and I feel like you guys can apply this to kind of your life. Okay, as my site is kind of loading up here, also ignore the background. We are renovating my office, so it's kind of in shambles at the moment. Honestly, I prefer to just like write everything out versus doing like a fancy Excel spreadsheet. So that's what I went ahead and did. It looks super messy, but I'm going to kind of run through and try to explain this to you. So this is just kind of my like reflection for January 2023, what I spent. So my paycheck from my job was $2,367.79. And then ignore this. This is like me tallying up what basically I do use my credit card even whenever I am like purchasing business expenses, just so I can end up getting cash back, and then I like pay off obviously from my normal like business checking account. But we're just going to mostly focus on here. I went through my like credit cards, and then I like to tally up, not just like make my credit card payment, but I do like to tally up and see like where my money is going, kind of like what I'm spending it on. I had gotten gas 3 times throughout the month of January, and this is the amount that I spent each. And then I also kind of tallied up different things here. So like I went to Goodwill, I got the Mr. Beast burger. Scott wanted to try it, so I got him that. I like went to Taco Bell one day. There was like a parking fee, more Goodwill. I went out to lunch with friends, got like dessert one day, and then I Venmo'd. This was in the line of food. So I had gotten like food with friends again that day. I had gave someone $200, a family member, and then also like my phone bill. I have an Acorns subscription, my car insurance. I also put money in my savings, Roth IRA, and then I also just withdrew some cash throughout the month. So I kind of tallied everything up here, and you can see over here I kind of like made it more concise. So my income was that $2,367, and then my fixed expenses, so that's going to be like my house, my phone, my car insurance. Those things are all going to be the same every single month for me. And you guys might be like, okay, where is groceries, like all your utilities, things like that versus rent? So Scott and I, we do own our house together, so we do pay for our mortgage and we have everything in escrow for that. And like I said, we have a joint account and we both have a set amount every single month that we deposit into this joint account. And then that is what we used to then pay for our groceries and everything. So this $1,400, that's including my mortgage, like property taxes, my house insurance, my groceries, utilities, literally everything that has to do with the house. It is covered in that $1,400. And then my phone bill, $64. Like I said, the car insurance. So it comes out to $1,583 for my fixed expenses every month. And then kind of my variable things, so gonna be like shopping, food, gas, miscellaneous. I ended up spending $552.30, which is a bit high just because I had given that like extra $200. And then my savings / investing. So I do put into just like a general savings account, and then I also put money into my Roth IRA. I typically like to also contribute a bit of money just into like general like stocks. However, I just didn't necessarily like have the extra money this month. This kind of summarizes everything here. I know a lot of talking right there and kind of just like different figures, but I did add it up, and totaling like all of the money that I spent between like expenses and my savings, investments, there was like $25 it shown. I had shown like left over from everything. I'm definitely thankful I stayed like kind of in the lines of my overall budget. Like I didn't live beyond my means in that sense. Ideally, I'd love to have been able to like save more and do different things like that. However, this is just being super realistic, like how I have spent my money. Also, this is really nice for me to kind of like look back and reflect on, because some with the things like I'm like, oh, I don't eat out that much, and then I look and I'm like, I spent $63 on eating out this month. Like that may be like, oh my god, that's hardly nothing to a lot of you guys. However, I don't know, we don't really eat out that much, but if my friend or something like invites me to lunch, I kind of just do it more for like a social thing. Yeah, and it adds up, and then I'll be like, oh, let me run to the thrift store, not realizing like it ends up adding up to like $77. So it's kind of interesting. I like to just see that and kind of like reflect on things. And the next page I want to show you is going to be setting up for February. I went ahead and did my income estimation. I do predict my income for February to be a bit higher just because I know I had like worked a good amount of hours last month. So income estimation, 2,300.
Hey, editing me here. I did realize while I'm editing this right now that I forgot to tell you guys. So I don't get paid bi-weekly like most people. Like typically it's like every other week people get paid, or even sometimes weekly. I actually only get paid once a month. So my pay period is kind of a little bit funky. I actually get usually paid like once in the middle of the month, so it's a little bit different, but yeah, I just get like one large lump sum every single month versus like a couple smaller ones.
And then I went ahead and I was just curious to see kind of like the percentage of everything. So my fixed expenses, so everything, like I said, with my house, my phone, car insurance, that eats up about 69% of my monthly income. And then my variable expenses, including like gas, shopping, etc., that eats up about 10%. And then I am going to put into my savings. You can kind of see my distribution here, and that eats up about 21% of it. So obviously you tally these together and that's going to be 100%. Now let's kind of talk a little bit about, like I said, I do use credit cards for things. I had grown up always thinking credit cards were a bad thing, and truthfully, that is so far from the truth. It just depends. You have to be smart about how you use them. They do have the potential to be like a negative thing for you. However, they also have the potential to help you out and help you earn free money, which is exactly how me and Scott use them. Okay, so I have a total of 2 credit cards. These are what I use for literally everything. Both of them are cash back credit cards. So there's different credit cards you can get, and it's gonna come down to like some of them you can like earn points for flying, things like that, like air miles. And they have a couple other different classifications. I just genuinely like to stick with the cash back. I don't know, that's what I prefer. Same with Scott. So I'll link the credit cards that I use down below, but I have one through American Express. It is the Blue Cash Preferred, and then I also have a Discover one, and it's actually like the student one. Discover, that was my very first credit card that I had gotten. I didn't need to have like any credit. Obviously, if you've never had like need to have a loan taken out or like credit card. Starting out when you're like 18 years old, you're gonna have a credit of 0. Most people will, unless like your parents put you on their card, which totally different story. I started out with a credit of 0, so I had no credit history, and Discover was one that I was able to get, and it had the cashback bonus. I still think it's a great credit card. I literally still use it. You want to look at the different things, like the percentages, some of it, like for instance, I believe it's my Discover one. There's like, you get 3% cash back whenever I go to gas stations, so I kind of pay attention to those numbers before signing up, because if I'm someone, let's say I lived in New York City and I never pay for gas, that's probably not going to be a card that I want to get, because then I'm like, okay, I don't even pay for gas, so like this advantage doesn't really apply to me that much. Versus the Blue Cash Preferred one, that one we use up to $6,000 every year. You can get 6% cash back on all US grocery stores. So me and Scott, we buy like majority of our food at a grocery store. We don't really eat out that much, so that is something that was like really important to us, and we're able to get a lot of like cash back on that. So we got the Blue Cash Preferred ones. There's just kind of take a look at those details, and then also like compare it with your lifestyle, things that you genuinely spend your money on. One of my favorite things, and kind of like I'm like, whoa, like this is literally awesome. Scott and I had planned a trip for May. In May, we are going to go take like a 3-day trip to North Carolina. And, you know, like you guys see my income. I don't necessarily have like a ton of money to go travel and like excess things to just like have necessarily like fun money. But using my credit card, that allows me to have a bit more extra money to kind of like actually travel and do things like that. So we had built up cash back. We had, I don't even know how much. We had like $200 and something at first, and we just got these cards in 2022. So on my card, I had like $200 and something built up in cash back. So I went ahead and booked us an Airbnb for this 3-day trip, and we only ended up having to actually pay like $70 of our own money, because we were able to just use that cash back. Little things like that, that's why I love it. It's just, I don't know, I feel like it helps provide more flexibility with our life, and it's like a little treat, you know, like even though you're spending money, at least I know like it's helping me in some way, and I'm kind of getting money back from that. So that's a credit card we love and always use. My Discover one, I still use that most of the time. Truthfully, that's what I put my gas on, because like I said, you do get 3% cash back on gas. And then I also will just use that if I'm going out like to lunch or something, or like getting a coffee with friends. So I don't use that one too terribly much, a couple times a month, but it still just helps it, so I use it. And then something about my credit cards, how I don't end up paying interest on them. I'm not someone, I don't even wait till like the end of the month to get my credit card statement back. I pay it off right away. I don't necessarily know if that's 100% the best way to do it, or if it is best to wait till like your statement comes out. However, I definitely don't do any of like the minimum payments. As soon as it's on there, I pay it off. I never spend more than I actually have when it comes to my credit cards. That is how you're gonna dig yourself into like a hole you cannot get out of and be in credit card debt. That is where like credit cards get this negative kind of like view on them, because it can be really, really dangerous. Like you have, for instance, my American Express credit card. I have a credit line of $9,400 just on that one credit card. I could go balls to the wall and go on a crazy shopping spree. However, some people, they see that number and they're like, oh my god, this is what I have to spend. No, you want to be utilizing 10% of your credit line. So I usually, it's still okay to be under 30%, but it's ideal to be under 10% of your credit line, and that goes for all lines of your credit. So just kind of be intentional if you guys do get a credit card. I'm not saying you have to, however, I'm just genuinely like, this is all just what I personally do, what Scott and I have done. It has helped us, so we were able to build up our credit. I have a credit now. It's like a rough estimator. Let me actually check. I use NerdWallet most of the time for like a rough estimator. Just kind of take everything with a grain of salt. This is just personally what I do with my life. Okay, NerdWallet. So my estimation right now, it's at 743. So it updates every week. It's kind of cool. Let me show you this. I can also link this down there. It's literally just like a free app. I don't pay for this at all, but it's just really nice to see, and it kind of has also a history. It lets you know like if there's ever, it shows you like your credit utilization. So right now my credit utilization is 13%. It also shows you the different types of credits that you have out, your balance. So you can kind of see on here, it just shows you all kinds of bits of information, the age and mixes of your account. Let me see here. So like my credit utilization right now, like I said, it's best to keep it under 10%, but also like it's still good to keep it under 30%. Right now, my credit utilization is at 13%. And that's just because I paid off my American Express credit card today. So that will update then. Actually, it should be updating today. My thing updates every single Thursday and I just paid them off. That should hopefully be going down a little bit, but that is still a really, really good number for that. Okay, so kind of last thing talking up here, I was going to actually pull up the website so I could show you guys. However, I don't know why it's not loading up right now. But where I just opened up my high yield savings account, it's called CIT Bank. I don't know if that's actually how you pronounce it, but it is completely virtual. So there's no like in-person like banks you can go to or ATMs. That's perfectly fine with me. I always do electronic transfer anyways, so it doesn't really matter. But I went ahead and set up my high yield savings account through them. I had kind of done my own research and browsed around, and I had noticed I just like their rates, kind of the different things that they had to offer. So go ahead, do your own research, but if you guys are interested, I'll also put that down below. Let's also hit, before I let you go, on where I do my investing, and that includes just like general investments. I had mentioned a little bit, I do invest in crypto, a Roth IRA, and some stocks. I do these through a couple different apps. Acorns, it is an app. I pay $3 a month for it, and that is what I use to invest my for my Roth IRA. It used to be $6,000 that you could invest into a Roth IRA every year. They do cap it. However, now in 2023, it is $6,500 that you can do. So I think it averages out, I had something like before it was 500, so it's probably like 540 something now. And basically what that is, so whenever the money goes in, it is taxed, and then it makes it so you're able to compound. There's going to be compound interest, so your money can grow, and then you can pull it out after retirement, and it will be completely tax-free. This is kind of like the home screen. It shows how much I have invested in my later account, which the later is going to be your Roth IRA. They just use later because obviously you're pulling it out like ideally after retirement. And then, and then my investing one, that is just going to be a general investment. Like there's a broad array. Whenever you first sign up for the app, you will take a little quiz, and there's like a different portfolio that you can choose from. You can change it periodically too. So because I am starting investing for my Roth IRA so young, I am taking an aggressive approach. So like I said, you can kind of go on the app here. It's super customizable, and literally hit aggressive. Kind of shows you different things on here, and you can scroll. This is so hard to do while like also trying to show you, but seeing on myself. But whenever you scroll over, it kind of shows different things, like the amount that's in like small stocks, like large stocks. Mine is completely in stocks and it's not in any bonds, but you can kind of see the details here, and it will show you the earnings of everything. I think this is really friendly. I am just still starting to like get into investing. I haven't been doing it like too crazy for too long. So a lot of these terms are still like super new to me. I'm slowly learning. So honestly, having Acorns and someone, it's cheaper to me than having a financial advisor. Like Scott, he personally goes through an investment company and he has like an actual financial advisor that does everything for him and kind of makes his decisions when it comes to that. I prefer this route. I feel it's more like, I don't know, I feel more in control of it. And I do like that it's kind of just like an app that explains things. If, let's say, I randomly want to change the route that I'm going, I have the access like immediately at my fingertips, so I can do that. So I kind of enjoy it. Yes, so that is everything. Let's not mind. I have my hair in braids because obviously I'm still in my PJs here too. Irrelevant. I'm going to go ahead and end off this video here. If you guys enjoyed kind of hearing a bit about like my finances and like to see kind of like a monthly overview as to like where I'm spending my money and kind of like how I'm doing things, let me know. I can definitely do this more periodically. I don't know if I want to do this every month because I feel like that'd get boring. This is a lot of like, I'm not going to be changing my credit cards and like my savings account, things like that every month, but maybe like every quarter, something like that. I can kind of give you guys a little finance video, but that is kind of that. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will talk to you in the next one.